Welcome to Rokk Around the Clock, daily cloud gaming news live at the same time, Monday to Friday. But first, if you're new to the show, please subscribe and hit the bell. If you'd like to support the channel, why not hit the join button on the channel homepage and become a member of Team Rokk. For a minute there, I was worried as well. Don't worry. Hello! He's back. The boy Rokk is back from his jaunt. His travail. His little wanderings around the world. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. What is up, rocksters and metalheads? It's the Metalhead Raver. Loving it. How are you, my friend? Crystal's in the house. Oh, it feels like an absolute eternity since I've been doing my thing here. It's great to see so many of you. Thank you, guys. Although we seem to have lost 3 since we went live. Maybe they were just checking that I was actually alive and that it wasn't an AI rock. They were a little ways off yet before AI rock, but it could happen. You never know. How have you guys been? It's been almost 2 weeks. It feels like it, to be honest. But it's so good to be back. I squeezed a few shows in while I was away, but I couldn't do a great deal because even with the half-decent broadband that we had in our first hotel, it still wasn't great, and you had to be in literally one spot to get the 200 and something megs. And the second one, there was no point, so I didn't bother. But wow, so good to see you. Fantastic folk. We've got Pycon, we've got Al Davis. Aha! Now, Al will have noticed, but the rest of you may not have spotted it. But right at the very, very, very beginning, like the first 30 seconds of the stream, I gave you a little hint of the new theme tune that Al has been composing for Rock Around the Clock. Whoa! So we've got a 30-second intro, which is the one that I played, and then we've got a 1 minute intro to replace the current kind of 1 minute, and then there's like a 3-minute piece for the end. It's amazing. So you have to go back and listen. I gave you all a little sneaky peek because I want to do some new graphics and stuff, so it's going to be a few days before I can get that out. But thank you, Al, my friend. You are an absolute megastar. So good to be back. Young Ant getting all excited. Thank you, my friend. It's good to be back. And Crystal, as we've said, Vet's in here. Rocky, how are you, my friend? When do you move? Is it next week you're moving, or the week after, when you're down in your part of the new world? You are live, William. William's joining us tomorrow for Rokk Show. So chuffed. I think it's just me, Ray, William, the three amigos. Going to be fantastic. Oh, this Saturday. Wow, coming right up. Awesome. Well, good luck with that, my friend. Hope it all goes to plan, as these things, as we do with all these things, don't we? That should be fun. I'm turning up the background music. I feel in a kind of party mood. And Sam, how are you, Sam? Miss Phoenix says, "How are the quesadillas?" Is that how you spell it? I don't know. I couldn't pronounce it. I called them the Quetzalcoatls. Yeah, I tell you what, they were excellent, Sam. They were really nice. The service, as anybody who saw the stream yesterday will know, it was a live stream from a place called Robbie's, which is, it was packed. It's very often cited as one of the restaurants to do when you're down in the Keys, but they were a miserable bunch. They didn't like it because we asked to move our table. We'd only ordered drinks at that point. But it was incredibly noisy, so we moved, and it was almost like they picked on us from then on. So I'm very pleased to say that they got 0% tip, which is the first time the whole holiday that anybody got nil point for service. The very, very first hotel we went to, which was a kind of an Italian, I'll say kind of, because it was kind of. And that wasn't good either. I was quite up for not giving them any, but by that point we were very sheepish. We didn't know if we would be hunted down by the Floridian mafia and, be sort of torn apart and fed to the fishes. You just don't know, do you? It's America after all. Crystal is so happy. Oh, bless you, Crystal. I am really happy to be back as well. A lovely break. I mean, it's always nice to have a family holiday, isn't it? And with my girls as well. It's always special. I'm getting a bit emotional. But it was lovely, and it was for an Englishman, it was rather hot. I mean, it's 24 degrees, which you'll have to help me out here. I think is about mid 70s. In the UK. Hang on, let me Google this for you, Rock. Convert 24 Celsius to Fahrenheit. 75. I was bang on. 75.2. Woohoo! So that to me is a nice temperature. If we could have 75 in the UK consistently through the summer, I'd be happy. But it was up into the 90s. It was certainly in the 80s for most of while we were there. And as an English fellow, I don't wish to moan, I don't wish to complain, but tad hot. And I think our last couple of days, humidity was almost on a par with the temperatures. So, yeah, that was, but you know, it's all fun, isn't it? It's all nice. Reva, how are you, brother? Reva's rejoined. He's rejoined Team Rokk. Thank you so much, my friend. Look, he's got a new scary beaver logo. Little avatar there. Smash that like button to show your love for Rokk. Oh, bless you, my friend. And subscribe for more great content. The one thing I missed when we were away, which was a tad annoying, but I'll pick up on it, was the Eurovision Song Contest. I never miss the Eurovision Song Contest. I've been to one of them. I love it. I love a bit of Euros. So I've got to catch up on that again. Of course, Sweden won, but Bjorn himself wasn't totally sure they should have done. But it's good because it coincides next year. I think I'm right in saying it. I don't know, maybe in this year. Next year, it coincides with when ABBA won from Sweden, of course, 50 years ago. So it's going to be a right royal rave up in Sweden, over in Stockholm. I wouldn't mind bagging some. I would bag some tickets. But next year's already lined up to be an incredibly expensive year because we bought a load of them old Olympics tickets for the old down in Française, down in France. It's the Olympic next year, and my lot have bought a ton of tickets. I mean, a ton. And we've got to get accommodation and travel sorted yet. It's going to cost an absolute fortune. So I think I would rather go to the Eurovision. I'm not so much of a sporty kind of a fellow, but it'll be nice. It'll be nice. Can't complain. Raymond, how are you, my lovely friend? Great to see you, Ray, as well. So tomorrow's going to be great. Back in the Rokk Show with Ray and William. Fantastic. And I hope you guys have been keeping up with Rokk players. That just goes from strength to strength. I had my Rokk Show boys on last week. It was fantastic. So yeah, all good. And oh look, Reva's been streaming some more. Good on you, dude. What have you been streaming? What you been doing some chit chat stuff like me, or have you been game streaming? What have you been doing, dude? And it's conveniently the anniversary of ABBA. Avatars. They have a show in London. I suspect it's going to find its way around the world. But it's not holograms specifically. I think it's projections on various invisible sheets. But it's very, very well done. So it looks like real people on stage. And they're sort of midway between old footage. It's all been very kind of AI driven. And they're called avatars, which I love. Rudix, hello dude. How are you, my friend? Great to see you. Great to see you. Do you know that the one sad thing about our holiday in North America was that we were so far down. I mean, we're literally right. We went to the southernmost point of America, which is pretty underwhelming. It's just a big dome buoy thing which says, well done, southernmost point. But some very interesting history around Key West specifically, but Florida. Sorry, not Florida, the Keys, which we got into. But I do have some sad news. I'll come on to it in a second. A bit of sad news. Rudig's Miss Phoenix and Ray are working together. Airlock them both. Are they, my friend? I'll have none of that. I'll have none of them. Are they conspiring against you, are they? We're not doing that. Sus. Miss Phoenix is sus. She is suspect. William says he wants to discuss AV1 codecs. Ooh, that'll be interesting. So, my sad news I wanted to do some 360 video footage, to do some rock around the blocks. And so I took my 360-degree camera with my special stick, the extension thing, which I've got two. I've got like a normal one, and I've got one that has like a power to it. So you can literally just press a button to record with a little lead, little USB that goes from the stick into the camera. Or you can charge the camera with it and so on. So this is all good. So I can't remember where we went now. Oh, yes, I do. We went to an island called Pigeon Key, which is interesting because when Henry Flagler, I think his name was, when he was building the railway line, so all the bridges from Key West to Miami, to use Key West as kind of the major cargo point. Never worked out for him, by the way, but didn't matter. He was already a billionaire in those days, in that money. So it kind of didn't work. But anyway, all the people that were working on the bridges were staying on this quay. So it's very historical. It's got old schools and stuff. It's a little house on the prairie. Very nice. And I said to the family, hey, my 360-degree camera can work underwater. And I plunged it into the sea and wobbled it about. And as I took it out, I thought, I think I was meant to disengage it from the stick with the power in before I did that. And sure enough, I fused the darn thing. So I've got film footage up to then, which includes a little wander around the Ill Turtle hospital, and what else? Oh, we went round like a nice park, so I've got a load of that going on. But at that point, I thought I'd killed it. I actually hadn't killed it, but I have done some damage to it. So until the battery expired, it insisted on turning itself on, recording, stopping recording, and turning itself off. Literally like that, repeatedly. And then sometimes you'd see the thing moving. It was like it was haunted, but it was because obviously I'd shorted something inside and it thought it was getting kind of a signal from the stick. So they told you're supposed to seal it all up before shoving it in the water. I'd forgotten that I had the chargeable stick. What a numpty. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, it's only, it could have been. I may have shocked a few fish, Reva. Fish! I mean, I'm used to fish this big, like my little goldfish. They had fish so big that I can't even get my arms in. I've never seen fish so big. Crazy fish. Massive. Anyway, so which is a shame because there was so much more after that it would have been nice to film. But I've got some footage, so I will put some stuff together. But not quite as brilliant as I'd hoped. We shall see. It's all good. I've also got to organise another giveaway. A big giveaway. I did successfully gave away Tears of the Kingdom to a lovely lady who wanted it, in fact, for her son's graduation. Which she must have done because she tweeted that she won it, and then she said she was going to do that once she'd given it to him. So that was nice little story as it goes. But I've got to come up with another one. Of course, today we will be doing the wheel. Woohoo! Hey Adam, how are you, bird? Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back, Rokk Show. Welcome back to you. I keep hitting it. It's on automatic. I keep hitting it and then killing it. Sorry about that. Thank you, my friends. Good to be back. I'm a little jaded, as you do, with the old jet lag. Because you've got to bear in mind, Florida, or the East Coast, is 5 hours behind the UK. So right now it's, 20 past midday for my good friends on the East Coast. So we got on the plane at Miami International at about half past 6, 7 o'clock-ish, Miami time, East Coast time. And when we landed in the UK, it was actually, he had to do a bit of a holding pattern because he couldn't land for half an hour. And then when he landed, he couldn't actually get into the gate for half an hour. So we were an hour late. But it was about 10 in the morning UK time, which would, of course, have been about 3 or 4 a.m. back in Florida. So, and then we had to drive all the way back. It's about a 3 or 4 hour drive. So, but I slept well. I went to bed about 10 p.m. and I didn't wake up until about 11:30 this morning. So it's all good. Been for a nice little walk with my daughter as well. So it's all good. Been back-to-back meetings for Adam. I hope they went well, my friend. Hey, Case-Ball. Hey, Rokk. Hope you enjoyed your holes. Not sure if it's up your street, but you have to try the Outlast Trials. Amazing game. It's Outlast. I thought Outlast was the one with the kind of ghostly, horrific psycho thing when you're in a mental home or something. Is that Outlast? And is that what you're referring to? I know there is a new one. Like the first, yes, you are, because I can see you've got your eyes. The first one is the only game other than Blair Witch that I actually said no. No, I finished Blair Witch. I couldn't finish Outlast. Training on our new phone system. Ooh, new phone system. Is it one of these newfangled IP phones, Adam, where it all works over the network and stuff? Ooh, Outlast is a very creepy game, says Sam. I know. Well, the first one is. I genuinely gave up on it in the end. I thought, no, this is it's too scary for me. And that's saying something, because nothing makes me jump. That did. And the funniest thing as well was when we got back yesterday, I thought, I don't want to go to bed. I want to kind of look at the little emojis. Look, oh, it's good. I thought I'd watch some Unsolved Mysteries. I haven't watched it for ages. The new version that is produced by the guys that do Stranger Things, which I didn't realise. Anyway, they had a whole murder mystery set in Florida. I was like, oh, what? Well, even our old phone system, which is like 20 years old, was IP. It was ancient. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be hip with the kids, Adam. But yeah. So anyway, it's good to be back. I say a little bit jaded, but it has a computer and a mobile app. I'm trying to remember you have said before where you work or what you do. Something to do with distribution. Am I right? Something to do with distribution? Or have I made that up completely? I forget. So what have you guys been up to? I'm sorry that I genuinely was hoping to get in like a stream every other day or even one every day. But it just didn't work out. Typically by the time we got back after eating out and stuff, it was getting late and I just thought, I can't bother. IT support, that was it. Sorry, my friend, at a healthcare facility. Yes, I remember now. Well, phones are massively important to you then, aren't they? I mean, that's kind of like a major part of it. Have you ever seen the IT crowd, Adam? Sometimes called the IT crowd, but it's a fantastic UK comedy show from the guys that wrote Father Ted, which you may or may not have seen either. I would imagine you never got Father Ted in the States because it is very religiously irreverent, and I would imagine it wouldn't have been taken on by any of the stations. Disney Dreamlight streaming. Yes, Crystal. I have been. That was the thing. While I was Norway defeated Canada 3-2 in a shootout at the Men's World Championship hockey. Last time was 23. Yeah, Canada ruled the world, mate, in hockey. That's amazing. So glad to be Norwegian. Well, if that's all it takes, then bless you. I looked into once I had a client and we were looking to build several mobile apps for communities. And specifically at sports, and I did a load of research, and it turns out that hockey in Canada generates the most revenue from merchandise than any sport in the world. Now you could, and I'm talking per head, so not as an aggregate. I mean, obviously football / soccer rules in terms of the amount of money it makes, but in terms of the average spend by a fan of the sport, Canadian ice hockey was just out there by a long stretch. It was really interesting. So I know they love their hockey. Where was I until I rudely interrupted myself? I forget what I was talking about now. Not that it matters. Oh yes, streaming. What it was Crystal mentioning Disney. And so I played. I did get some gaming in. I played. I took my laptop, my little Chromebook, so I was able to play GeForce Now and xCloud. So I played Redfall on xCloud. I played a bit of Evil Dead 2 on GeForce Now, and I took my little Wasabi Stadia controller. But towards the end, the left thumbstick was sticking. Literally, wasn't going anywhere. So I abandoned that and I went over to Switch, and I spent a lot of time on Breath of the Wild, really trying to get into it big time. And what I discovered was that it's definitely a lot better if you Google some of the stuff. Like for example, I was just making loads of recipes to keep me warm, because particularly a lot of the earlier stuff is set up in the hills and it's very cold. But I was running out of it, and then I thought, I've got to find some clothes. So I Googled that. That's what I've got to. So I got myself some warm clobber. By the way, you're probably seeing a plant wobbling over there. Just want to let you know it's not haunted, and you're hearing an occasional breeze. I've got the fan on for the first time this year. It was really warm in here, so I've put the fan on. And Phoenix hasn't played a Zelda game in a long time. Well, I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom, because the reviews have been astonishing, and everybody that I've seen in the community that play it is like just an amazing game. But I wanted to really get up to speed with Breath of the Wild before I did. And I know they say you don't need, that they are conjoined, but you don't need to have played Breath. But I just kind of felt like I really, really need to get into it so that everything feels second nature. Hello, where's my camera gone? Hang on a second, guys. What just happened? I don't know what happened there. My camera has been playing up since I got back. And I'm going to check out and find out what's going on. But anyway, we're back. We're all back. You should start again, Miss Phoenix. Yeah, I should, Reva. It will go on the list. How are you getting on with Evil Dead, Sam? Have you finished it now? I think you were streaming the other day when I popped into your stream. Say hello. And Martin is going to try out Star Trek Resurgence on the 28th of this month. Oh, yes. Looking forward to that. That should be good. 28th, is it? So that's only, where are we? 22, aren't we? It's only 6 days away. So that's what? Saturday? Sunday? Can't bother to do the maths. That'll be good. I love a bit of Star Trek. In fact, I've got to finish. I finished Picard, and I've got to finish the one with. I've forgotten her name now. Rock's back. Anyway, I've got to finish that. Dead Island 2, getting there. I haven't progressed much of the main story. I've been doing some side quests. It's massive, Sam, isn't it? I mean, you're no slouch when it comes to gaming. So it just goes to show how big that game is. I was really enjoying Redfall until the Wasabi clapped up. But I've got a new rental game. Yes, I do. I have Jedi Survivor. Woohoo! So I was going to play it last night. I fired it up. I got it on Xbox. I fired it up, but I was too tired to get through even the initial cutscene. So started playing Biomutant again. Zelda, if you're climbing and have only red in the stamina wheel and you jump, that will jump you much further. Yeah, been doing all that. Well, it reminds me a lot, Brockmuth, of Phoenix Doofer. Phoenix, not Miss Phoenix. Better. Hello, brother. Good to see you, dude. Great to see you on Rock Players last week, by the way. Fantastic. Roger, I'm hoping for a Final Fantasy demo. There's got to be one coming up, hasn't there? I've seen some amazing new screen video stuff of all the foliage and everything in the game. It looks stunning. Really looking forward to that one. I know Phoenix is a massive Final Fantasy fan. Success 01 is now following. Well, that's success for me. Thank you very much. Don't forget, guys, we've got the members only wheel coming up. Yeah, it's ready to go. Humanity. Thank you, Dorrigan. I'd forgotten that's on the PlayStation this month, isn't it? getting huge reviews, doing really, really well. So I definitely want to play that. Do you know, it reminds me, do you remember when the iPhones, in fact I think it was when the iPad first came out. I mean, if you had never had an iPad, you wouldn't know this, but there was a game, and I think it was free, and it was like a rubber duck, and it was in a bath or something, and you had to, like move the bath around, or the platform around, and get the duck to go into, or whatever it was, to go into different sections. What I've seen in Humanity, it kind of reminds me of a vast version of that, so it's probably nothing like it. That's all I've said. Immortal Phoenix Rising. Thank you, Rockmouth. Yeah, obviously, very, very much based on Breath of the Wild. So I did kind of feel it was fairly familiar, but there's lots of stuff like the cooking that isn't from memory, wasn't in Immortals. So I had to kind of get my head around that. Members only will. You got to be in it to win it, guys and girls. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's going to be coming up. And as I say, I've got to choose. What do you reckon, guys? Let me throw this out to you. So we've got... Oh, I probably haven't got enough time to worry about May. Let me have a little look and see what games are coming out. June game releases. Let's see what's coming up in June. Video game always does this. What's the point in giving me from 2022? Let's choose the past in the past month. Right. So what we got coming up? 2023 upcoming game releases. Hell yeah! June. Right. So for June we've got a Trian Odyssey Origins Collection, Slayers X, Street Fighter 6. I feel that's going to be quite big. Not my cup of tea, but We Love Katamari, Amnesia the Bunker, Diablo 4. That could be the one, couldn't it? Bleak Sword DX. Diablo 4 was quite early in June, mind you, so on June the 6th. Bleak Sword, Harmony the Fall of Reverie, Grey Hill Incident, Front Mission 2, Layers of Fear, Aliens Dark Descent. Crash Team Rumble. Trepang, Final Fantasy 16, of course. Oh, that's got to be the one, hasn't it? Maybe I'll go for 2. Silicon City, Story of Seasons, Crime O'Clock, and Master Detectives. Has either of those two, Final Fantasy and Diablo, been pushed back, do you know? Because I'm not sure how old this list is. This was when... May 19th as well. It's actually quite recent. Very nice. What we got? We've got, oh yeah, very nice Happy Cloud game. Both my bedroom and family room TVs are Google TV. Got to be Final Fantasy. Yeah, I think you're right, mate. Hey, Chariot. Hello, brother. Hello, brother. How are you, my friend? Yeah, I was saying earlier, it was a shame being down the southernmost tip of North America. If I was further up, I would genuinely have tried a kind of a meet-up, because obviously as you get up and out of Florida, I'm getting towards vets closer to me, and then I'll get closer to the East Coast, but it wasn't to be, but another day, another year for sure. Yeah, I'm thinking it could be Final Fantasy. I think you may be right there. So that's, they say, Mass. What's Mass? Which one is Mass? Let me know, Crystal. Quite keen to know. Is there a game coming to the Switch or something, maybe? Did I say Mass? Master Detective Archives. So we've got Diablo. I think these are the big ones. Diablo 4, which I quite fancy myself. Oh, Massachusetts. Got you, Crystal. Yes. Yes, Massachusetts. I know there's so many places I would love to have got up to, but it just wasn't going to happen. The US is huge, you're absolutely right, my friend. Unless you're a few hours away, which is the same city or fairly close within the same state. I know, absolutely. I mean, you'll find it with the time zones. I tell you what was really interesting and useful for me was being on the East, being in EST or ET, and and then relating it to when my show normally goes live, and just feels so different to be at that midday point and thinking to myself, yeah, it's a struggle. But I did look at, the potential to push the show backwards or forwards, and I just don't think it's going to work. For you guys more than anything, I just think the fact that it's a kind of midday thing. Rokk, I can't believe you came to the USA. I didn't get to meet you. I know, my friend. Same in Oz. Yeah, 3 hours. You're still in Sydney. It's no way. Seriously. Wow. I've got talking to an Australian fellow while I was in America. He, although you wouldn't know it was quite interesting. He had quite an American accent, but he'd been, I would put him in about late teens, early 20s. He said he'd been in America for 10 years, so that's probably why. But yeah, he was from Brisbane, which I lived in Brisbane for a while, so we got chatting, and it was really funny to hear his accent come back. He was like, once he realised that he could be himself. It's quite funny. But yeah, I'd so love to go back to Australia. Thing is, Dorrigan, where we lived, I keep asking my mum to kind of put a journal together. So put the places where we lived, even the roads, so that at some point I can go back and do because you've got to bear in mind, we're talking 47, 48 years ago that I was there. Well, it'll have changed out of all recognition, no doubt at all. But I just want to go back and see if anything remains from almost 50 years ago. I'd love to do that. New York, you can travel for 3 hours and just be 5 minutes away in other places. What? What? I could travel 3 hours anywhere in the world and be 5 minutes away from another place. What are you saying, mate? It was a visit location for me, mainly, or Manly Beach. Nice. What's up, Rokk? Seb, hello, brother. How are you, dude? Oh, I didn't mean to boomerang you. Let me get you back. Wollongong was Dad's home as a £10 pom. I'm sure I went there. Is there a, like an old sort of disused mine there? Which is like, now it's like a place you can visit. They've kind of done it up a bit and you can go around it. Is that there? The trouble is, you see, I was 6 and 7. I was 6 and then 7. Well, not at the same time while we were there. So a lot of my memories have become embellished by dreams. Ulla dulla. Thank you. I mean, because you can get stuck in traffic on the same damn traffic. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, right. I know exactly what you mean. But that was an amazing place. But yeah, Brisbane, Melbourne, Geelong, Toowoomba, Sydney. I know there's a new TV show that started, isn't there, on the £10 Poms, which we haven't watched because obviously it started while we were away, but I've got it on series record, so I'm looking forward to that. I think it's probably set about a decade or certainly a few years before we went. So slightly before, but nonetheless, what I've seen was so familiar. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Those of you that don't know, a £10 pom was a pom or a pommy is the Australian slang word for a Brit. I think it comes from Prisoner of Her Majesty, but that might be an urban myth because, of course, back in the 17th, 18th centuries, Australia was used as a kind of a distant prison. So even if you'd stolen a loaf of bread, they'd just shove you on a ship and send you down there. That went out in 1963. There you go. It's quite accurate. I'm really looking forward to it. And then in the 60s and 70s, it may have been earlier. It could have been late 50s, certainly 60s and 70s. Australia needed to build up its bank of skilled professions, builders, doctors, nurses, and so on. And they were paying for you to get over there. You had to show some commitment, which was £10, which I don't know what it was in those days. Let's call it equivalent to £100 today. But it was nothing. And then you would go on in our case, we went on a huge cruise liner, assisted passage. And then we got off, they put you into a camp which was very nice. It was like a well, I was going to say Butlins, but in American you wouldn't know what that means, but like a holiday camp. And from there you would be sponsored to go and work somewhere, depending on your skill, and then you probably end up in that place, Australia. Yeah. And as I say, I was very young, and so I don't have a lot of my memories of it are probably embellished with dreams that I had at a later point. But I certainly, when we were in Florida, and they have a lot of sort of grass in the water there, seagrass, which is protected, rightly so, because a lot of animals need it for cover and food. But when it breaks away from the sea and then comes into the coast and rots, that's kind of a sort of a sulfuric smell. And it reminded me so much of the beaches when I was a kid in Australia, which I guess it probably has a similar thing because it has a coral base. And Camp Crystal, yeah. And absolutely, I loved it. And I remember because my dad was a bricklayer until he retired. And so he would, like in all hot countries, he would start work very, very early. He would start work at sort of 6 a.m, just to get so much of it done before the heat. And then he would knock off just after lunchtime. So they would have done a full day's work, but out of the heat. So my dad would always get home. By the time my brother and I got home from, I don't know, wherever the school we went to was, obviously it was very young kids, we'd be home by 2:30, 3, and then we'd all go down the beach or something. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's how my dad is. Oh, so he starts early, and then it just depends where you live, but certainly in a hot country, Spain and down into the southern states of the States, Australia and so on, it's the way you do it. To be fair, we sent most of our prisoners to the US. Oh, bless them. Yeah, there's a lot of resentment in the world to us English, but as I always say, please don't resent us. It was a tiny minority class that I don't know anybody related to any of those people. And, and anyway, they all came from the French, who indeed actually came from the Vikings, because they invaded France, were given northern France just to keep them away from the rest of France, which became known as Normandy or Norsemen. And they then invaded England, so ultimately we're Viking. That's how I look at it. And yeah, Phoenix is Welsh. She's probably got more traditional Brit in her bloodline than most of us. Prisoners of Her Majesty's Empire, Pom. Thank you, my friend. There you go. Or His Majesty, I suppose. Depends who was ruling at the time, doesn't it? I still can't get used to His Majesty. Very funny. I'm pretty sure my family immigrated later. But the founders. So where do your family come from, Adam? Do you know what I mean, obviously all 99% of Americans have come from somewhere other than America these days. Ant is into Yellow Jackets. Now, I don't want to spoil it for you, and I haven't seen it, but I'm fairly sure I'm right in saying that William said the first couple of seasons are excellent, and then the most recent season, it does a bit of a cliff dive. But I haven't seen it, so I genuinely can't say. But while I was on the old plane, I didn't watch much actually. I caught a couple of series, Eastern Europe, yeah. On my grandmother's side, her grandparents were all Eastern European. My father's side's English Irish. Okay, so the thing you have to bear in mind with grandparents and great grandparents that have come from Eastern Europe is you will get some of them say they came from Russia. This is what happened in my family. So for years they said they were from Russia, but the thing is, up until certainly World War II, and even before that, of course, Russia occupied other countries that weren't traditionally Russian, like they've been trying to do in recent years. So, for example, in my case, one of my, I think it was my great grandmother, came from Poland, which at the time was occupied by Russia. And the other one came from, I think, Lithuania or Latvia, one of the two. So although now they're not Russian, then they were, or part of a Russian state. So you get a lot of that. Oh, Czechoslovakia. It's not, is it Czechoslovakia anymore? Was it Yugoslavia? There's been a lot of movement around Eastern Europe over the last 20 or so years, and names have changed. Like we used to say the Ukraine, and now we say Ukraine. We used to say Kiev, and now we say Kiev. We don't listen to Wilson anyway. Oh, was it Wilson? Was it? Okay. Okie dokie. Somebody watched. I thought it was William, not Wilson, but anyway. Either way, yeah, we haven't watched it. But what I did watch, I watched a film. I watched the latest Tom Hanks. I say it's the latest. It's the latest what I'm aware of. A Man Called Otto. What a lovely film. Really nice little film, that one, if you haven't seen it. In America, it's on Netflix, which is how I managed to watch it, because I only watched half of it on the plane, and then I noticed it was on Netflix. Win! So I watched it, but I don't think it's on Netflix in the UK. So if you are in the States, definitely watch that. It's a really good film. It's a nice film. And poor William. On the way back, so when we were in the States, everywhere in the Keys there are these lizards, right? Little ones, iguanas, big ones, and of course alligators, and even crocodiles, but not many. I think they're further up in Florida. Anyway, we were driving up on the road, as you do on a road when you're driving typically, and I noticed a lizard flying in the air and landed on the windscreen. He'd obviously worked his way into the grill of the car, just to chill out in the warmth or the cold or whatever, and then thought, oh my god, it's getting hot, and so he sort of scrambled. It was a little thing, but this big, scrambled up, hit the windscreen, it's like stuck there like this, and I'm like, cling on, little fella, cling on, and then boom, he was gone. It flew off, and I don't know what ever happened to that little lizard, but it reminded me of Rango. Have you ever seen Rango? It's just a stunning animated movie. And the beginning part of that, where I think it's Johnny Depp plays Rango, and he's stuck on a windscreen, flies off. And it reminded me of Rango, and I said, I so want to watch Rango. I love that movie. So luckily on the way back, it's Johnny Depp. Just amazing. On the way back, they had it on the plane. Yes, I had to go looking for it in the kids section, but it was there. So I watched Rango again. And do you know what? I've seen that film. Probably that was my third or fourth time. I never tire of watching it. I haven't seen it for a few years, to be fair. But the animation, the quality of the animation, the CGI, is to this day stands up against anything else out there right now. I think I had it on rental as a DVD once, or a Blu-ray. I may even own it on Blu-ray, to be honest. I can't remember. And there's a documentary, like the making of it. And it was just like a tiny group of people in a kind of a bungalow. It's like an independent movie. But obviously it got all these big names. Johnny Depp's in there, and some other big names. I can't remember. But such an amazing movie. But I would say it's probably not a kid's movie. It's not that it's sweary or violent, but the humour, I think a lot of the humour will go over kids' heads. And there are some quite dodgy characters in it that are fairly ugly. But I just love it. Such a good movie. That's the Swedish movie R.I.P., I think. What, Rango? I don't think it is Swedish. But I'm happy to be corrected. IMDb. Johnny Depp is the only one that matters. Exactly, Krista. He is a stunning actor. I totally agree. Let me put it in. Rango. Johnny Depp, Isla Fisher. There you go. Isla Fisher. I wonder if she's related to Carrie Fisher. We started listening to Matt Perry's autobiography on the way back, Audible. So we'd finished old Prince Harry's book. It was good. And then I grabbed hold of Matthew Perry's book, which is a bit whingy, is a bit whiny. Obviously, it's about his addiction. A man named Otto is Swedish. I don't think it is. It might be. I don't know. I mean, it isn't set in Sweden. No, yeah. So Gore Verbinski is the director of Rango. If you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend it. It's a fantastic movie. So are you genuinely saying a man called Otto? Is it just the fact that his name sounds Swedish? Let's have a look. I mean, you might be right. Otto's a grump, yeah. Mark Foster's the director. Doesn't sound too Swedish. Writers, Fredrik Backman, Hans Holm. Well, those two do sound Swedish. I'll give you that much. Let's have a look. Production. Based on the novel En man som hittar Ove, which does sound very Swedish. I'm gonna give you this one, my friend. Sacha Baron Cohen. He's a genius, isn't he? Genius, although he does like getting it out too many times for me. I'm not too much of a fan of watching a movie and seeing something slashing across the screen, even if you could be quite proud. You're right, 2015 Swedish film, A Man Called Ove, a remake of the fantastic original film adaptation of the novel A Man Called Ove by Fredrik Backman. Thank you, Rokk Matthew. Of course you were right, you're Swedish. Directed by Hannes Holm, Ove is a curmudgeon, the kind of man who points at people he dislikes. I also thought, in terms of stuff that it reminds me of, hey Eddie, how are you, dude? Thank you, my friend. It reminded me a lot of the Ricky Gervais series. Is it Afterlife, which is absolutely amazing, and it reminded me of that, very similar in many ways to that. But I have only seen A Man Called Otto. Now that I know that it's based on that original, I'd really like to see the Swedish one as well. 7.7, the Swedish one, where's it gone? A Man Called Ulve. That one has 7.7, and A Man Called Otto has 7.5. So a higher rating. I'm definitely going to try and check that out, my friend. Thank you. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very, very good. And SPC is married to Fisher. Yeah, well, the only reason I mentioned Matt Perry, who, by the way, as I said, I found so far, I know we're probably a couple of hours into a 7-hour book, but he sort of blames his addiction on the fact that his mum and dad separated and he used to have to fly between Canada and LA and he felt lonely. And I'm like, mate, your addiction is because you're an addict. It's probably, in your case, congenital. You know, I mean, lots of people have separated families, and in his case he talks of that both of his parents got on okay and they clearly loved him and he learned to live with his dad and it was fine. So I just think I wish he wouldn't be trying to blame his addiction on that. I mean, that is not traumatic in the scheme of what can traumatize children, and they don't go on to become addicts. So, but I tell you, he does. You know how you listen to Ozzy Osbourne, a man clearly addled after many years of addictions. You know that guy's been affected just the way he speaks and walks, and I was getting that from Matthew Perry as well. You can hear in his voice. Stories are really interesting, mind you. We haven't got to the whole Friends bit yet. But the reason I mention is because he went out with somebody called Trisha Fisher, unfortunate rhyming name, who was the half-sister of Carrie Fisher. So I just wondered whether Isla Fisher is from the same family. That's all I'm asking. Isla Fisher, actress, Wedding Crashers, very pretty. I watched Saturday Night Live with old Pedro Pascal as well while I was on the plane. That was very enjoyable. Don't get to see many Saturday Night Lives. That was good. She almost drowned during shooting a scene for Now You See Me when she performed in a piranha tank. Whoa. What else? No, it doesn't mention that she's... Parents, Elspeth Reed, apparently only had one. Children, Montgomery Moses, Brian Baron Cohen. Okay. Been married to Sasha. Oh, I see what's going on there. They haven't put the commas in because she has 3 kids. So it's Montgomery, comma, Moses, comma, and Brian Baron Cohen. That's more like it. 1976. That makes her the same age as you, doesn't it, Adam? If I'm right. Stu, hello, dude. How are you, my friend? I tuned into your show. You didn't do one on Friday, did you? I don't think. I know why. I appreciate it's a bit tough, but it's so Isla Fisher. It says here, trademark, curvaceous buxom figure. Wow, it's a bit rude. Anyway, so she's the voice in that, and very nice. Right, where are we? For 2 minutes. We ought to get the old wheel going, guys, haven't we? Get the old wheel out, I reckon. Why don't we do that? Should we get ourselves over to the wheel? I think this is the right one. There he is. There's little Rokk. Look at him down there. Bless him, little fella. So yes, Sacha Baron Cohen, very wealthy young man. I think he's another one of those incredible geniuses that has not only had the one successful show like Gervais, but he has also gone on to not only star in movies, but write them, direct them, been involved in all sorts of stuff. So I think he's worth, last time I looked, I was very amazed at his worth. Sacha, let me just type. No, that doesn't work. Can't get it to work. I think I've got my blocker on. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. You guys are... Oh, look at that. Ooh, whose house is that? That's a nice one. The 13 most expensive homes ever sold in the US. Yes. Well, I didn't stay in one. Right. Let's get the wheel going, shall we? Oh, well, I've disappeared again. I'm back. I'm back. He's back. And we're going to start with... Let me get studio mode so I can slab it up. Who's going to win today? Let's see, shall we? Let's get it going here. So, everybody's in and on the wheel. So let's give it a spin. Good luck, guys. First one of the return of Rokk. Let's do this. Right, it's going to start to slow any second. There goes Al, Martinez, Ray, William, Queen Rach, Consiglio, Phipps could be Dorrigan. No, it's going to go on beyond. Could be Eddie. No, it's going to be Agnello. Could be Rudigs. Could be Reva. I think it's going to be somebody in the chat today. I think it could be Reva the Beaver. Stop. No, it's gone on to Jack. Hey. Jack, who is a massive, massive supporter of the channel. Justly deserved. You almost got there, Reva. Almost, my friend. But almost is not good enough. Sorry about that. Right, we'll close that one down. Oh, mate, you were that so close, weren't you? You were so close. Right. Oh, I can smell garlic. Now, I'm not a lover of garlic, but there is some garlicky smells that I quite like. Like when you go into an Italian restaurant and you're like, oh, that's nice. Or an Indian restaurant. But that's what I can smell. Right, here we go. This is what Jack is going to win. So let's give it a spin. La 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 la. Somebody else warding off the vampires. I think you're right, Sam. I was thinking while I was away, she should She. Who wrote it? Dracula. Bram Stoker. He should have done it on mosquitoes, not vampires. They're much worse. I mean, all mosquitoes suck blood. He is going to win. Looks like it's going to be Oddworld Munch's Odyssey. I think you'll be up for that. No, let's put that down. Munch's Odyssey. Awesome stuff. Well done, Jack. Brilliant. There you go. Right. Well, that's kind of it, really. I mean, it's everyone's got to get back to lunch, and I've got to go and have my tea, as I call it. And tomorrow, of course, is Rokk Show. So when I'm finished, go back, wind all the way back to the first 30 seconds of the show to get a sneak peek at the new theme tune that our very, very good friend Al has composed. You're only going to get a sneaky little bit of it. It's not the whole thing, but it's just a little bit of an intro. Awesome show as always. Oh, well, thank you, Beaver. You almost won. How awesome would that have been? I was willing you to win as well. Have a great lunch, guys, or a dinner, or a breakfast, wherever you are. Thank you, as always, for not forgetting me. Aww. And I'll be back tomorrow with my amigos for a Rokk Show. Cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. Right, let's get out of here. Have yourselves a fantastic Monday. Take care, guys. Bye-bye now.